Welcome to the AI Factory podcast. We're always hearing about the incredible promise of AI, right? But today, we're going to flip the script a little. We're going to look at its supposed failures by digging into a single statistic that has sent a massive wave of fear and doubt through the entire business world. And this is it, 95%. I'm sure you've seen this number floating around. It's the supposed failure rate of AI projects, a figure that, honestly, suggests this whole thing is a massive overhyped bubble just waiting to pop. But here's the big question. Is it even true? I mean, really, do 95% of AI projects actually fail? In this explainer, we're going to pull back the curtain on this viral headline, find out where it came from, and uncover the real story hiding behind the numbers. So why did this claim catch on like wildfire? Well, it tapped into a fear that was already there, a suspicion that the billions and billions of dollars being poured into AI were maybe more about hype than actual tangible value. It was a simple, powerful story, and it made a lot of leaders really nervous. Okay, so let's get into the core of this. To really understand the claim, you have to go right to the source and, deconstruct how they even came up with this number in the first place. So the first thing you need to know, and this is absolutely crucial, is where this number comes from. It's not from a rigorous, peer-reviewed academic paper. It's actually from a business report, and that's a world of difference. It's based on interviews, and it's really designed to spark a conversation, not to be some statistically perfect, unshakable fact. In fact, if you read the report closely, it basically admits this. It says its data is directionally accurate based on individual interviews. That's a huge qualifier, right? It's their way of saying, hey, this isn't hard data. It's more like the general vibe we got from talking to people. And this right here, this is the real kicker. The entire claim rests on an incredibly narrow, almost impossible definition of what success even is. A project was called a failure if it didn't show a measurable return on investment, get this, just 6 months after its pilot phase. 6 months. Just think for a second about all the real value that 6-month window just completely ignores. We're talking about huge gains in making things run smoother, major cost savings down the road, making customers happier, and maybe the most important thing of all, the strategic learning that sets a company up to win in the future. None of that counted. 0. And this is really the heart of the whole misunderstanding. When you see it side by side, it's so clear. The report's looking at one tiny thing, ROI in 6 months. But a real holistic business view looks at the whole picture, cost reduction, how it fits into workflows, and the big strategic wins. They're not just on different pages, they're reading completely different books. But the story doesn't end there, because there's this powerful counter-narrative that comes from another, much more comprehensive research program, also from MIT, by the way, that tells a totally different story. I mean, the contrast is just stark. On one hand, you have the GenAI Divide report based on just 52 interviews claiming 95% of pilots failed that 6-month ROI test. But then you have this multi-year study that found pretty much all of the organizations that focus on learning from AI are actually seeing real financial benefits. Which brings us to a very, very different number, 99%. That's the percentage of what this other study calls learning organizations that are observing actual revenue benefits from their AI work. This completely flips that whole failure story on its head. So what is going on here? How can both of these reports exist at the same time? And more importantly, what does this all mean for you and for your organization? Well, it turns out the real issue isn't about the technology failing at all. Both reports, in their own way, point to the exact same truth. The biggest thing holding companies back from AI success is an organizational learning gap. The problem isn't technical, it's strategic. So what you're really seeing are two fundamentally different mindsets. There's the tactical pilot approach, which is all about short-term wins, and then there's strategic learning, which is focused on the long game, on integrating AI deeply and building a real lasting capability inside the organization. That is the real divide. Okay, so understanding the problem, that's the first huge step. But now let's talk about how to turn that insight into actual action. What does the path to success really look like? The research points to a pretty clear 5-step roadmap. It's really about shifting your whole focus away from that short-term ROI and towards long-term capability. It means you gotta widen your metrics, really invest in your people's learning, be smart about your resources, get a handle on unofficial AI use, and always be thinking beyond that initial pilot phase. So you see, the real story of AI isn't about widespread failure. Not at all. It's about a fundamental choice that every single leader has to make. Are you just going to chase the hype, or are you going to commit to the real, sometimes hard, work of learning? And that really leaves us with one last question for you to think about. Is your organization built to learn, or is it just built to pilot? The answer to that question could very well determine your future. Now, to go a lot deeper on how to build a true learning organization, check out the link to the book AI Factory, Architecting Global Supremacy in the description. Thanks so much for tuning in.